Second Saturday St. Louis is a workshop for women who are in or contemplating divorce. And here from Rogers & Company, a firm that presents at the workshop, is Laura Bogus. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you.
So we're going to talk a lot about Second Saturday in a minute, but let's talk about transitions in life for women, because that's really what you're all about at Rogers & Company, one of your focuses.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. I love to work with women, and women have a tendency to go through quite a lot of transition in their lives, as men do as well. But women, I am a woman, so it makes sense to me to talk to women. That just works. So types of transitions. Divorce would be one of them, and we'll come back to that. But then there's loss of a spouse, becoming a widow. And then there's something else that's maybe a little bit in between, where as we get older, the spouse perhaps becomes ill, has a disease or a dementia, and the woman may have not had any experience handling the family financials.
So all of a sudden they're on their own, but they're not really.
Right.
And so they're having to make decisions that maybe they weren't quite prepared to do.
Exactly, exactly. So those types of transitions are what we really like to specialize in at Rogers & Company.
So is there any way, let's talk about widowhood right now, and it's something that you can hardly plan for, right? So what are the things that when you meet a woman who's a recent widow, let's say, or her husband is incapacitated now, what are some types of things that you will talk to them about, or that they should be prepared to talk to you about?
That's an excellent question. Gals need to pay close attention to what's happening with their finances. I think a lot of times one spouse or the other, and sometimes it's a role reversal, but they don't actually have an interest in the financials. Take an interest long enough to go to the meetings with the financial advisor, to know where the assets are held, what they are, what kind they are, and how to access them if something suddenly should happen and all of a sudden you're thrust into the position to have to go find them all and do something with them.
So it's just the facts, basically. You don't have to be a financial expert, and maybe that's what scares some people. They think, oh, I just don't want to, that's something, it's not something I'm educated about or have an interest in. And so they just ignore it.
Yes.
And then the day comes when they have to know who to call, right?
Right. Right, and often they don't even know who to call. I think a lot of times what happens, I mean, as we go into the next, coming 50 years, as all of us baby boomers start to pass away, what's going to happen is that trillions of dollars is going to transfer from the hands of men to women and their children. And if the males in the family have been handling the finances, 70% of the time, and this is already proving itself out, those assets are actually going to go to somebody who doesn't know what to do with them, and she's going to find a new advisor. So one of the things that women and their families can do as mom gets older is to make sure that they know who the financial advisor is, participate in the meetings, and work with someone that they know, like, and trust, because that's where that relationship-based management actually comes in.
So what you're talking about is starting early, so that, because everyone eventually, most people are going to be a widow or a widower.
Exactly.
And you have to plan for that very early in your marriage.
Yes.
For that day.
Right.
As much as people don't want to think about that.
Exactly. So being well organized, knowing where the documents are, knowing what you have, again, knowing if you have a will and a trust is a really important process as well.
Right. So there's women who are going to be prepared. They're going to start early. But then there are the women who that day comes and they're not ready.
Yeah.
So who do they call? What's their first step?
Well, generally speaking, they're going to call their closest trusted advisor. In some cases, that's an attorney, a family attorney. In some cases, it's a CPA. If they know who the financial advisor is, they're going to call them. Or they're just going to talk to their friends. Who do you like? Who do you use? What do you like about them? And they're going to go find someone.
So if somebody came into you with their shoebox,
yes,
you could make sense of that.
Yes, I had that happen recently.
Yeah.
So we work through those initial moments, handle the tears. There's always a box of Kleenex, and we just begin to pull it together. Sometimes it's just shredding a bunch of stuff that didn't need to be kept in the first place.
We're going to take a quick break, Laura. When we come back, we're going to talk more about Second Saturday. So stay with us at STL Live. We'll have more after this break.